Welcome to Between Both Cheeks, the podcast where we talk business, beauty, and butts. We'll be stripping down the aesthetics industry, whether you're here for spicy beauty tips, savvy business advice, or just a little banter. We've got you covered from front to back. So pull up a cheek and get ready to discover what happens between both cheeks.
This episode discusses narcissistic and domestic abuse and trauma healing. We understand that this topic may be distressing for some listeners. If you find this subject triggering, please prioritize your well-being and consider skipping this episode or seeking support from a trusted resource. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a local crisis center or hotline. You are not alone.
Welcome to the BBC. I have such a special guest. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me. I have been begging you to be on this podcast since September. I'm actually reading through the messages on DM being like, how am I going to get you on this podcast? And we're in LA, your hometown, recording this at a beautiful studio. So shout out to Melrose Podcast for taking us today. I was so excited.
Shout out to the Sunset Strip. Welcome to the hood.
Making new memories, girl. We're making new memories.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to dive right in because I want you to tell me about how and why you started your platform.
When I started my platform, I had been coming out of a relationship and I was 5 months out and it was extremely toxic. And I decided through therapy that I really needed to find a voice. My therapist kept saying, you really need to learn to speak up. And not that I wasn't kind of outspoken, but just not for myself. I always was pretty outspoken for the greater good, but never for me. And I started this little platform on TikTok, and it was a 30-day challenge. It was do a video a day for 30 days just to gain some confidence and to, be in selfie mode so that you're safe, but you're still overcoming your fear of speaking up. And within that 30 days, I had over 10,000 followers. And 5 months into this breakup is when I actually started it. 3 months later is when I started talking about Narcissist because he wouldn't stop harassing me. And I had no idea why. And the original platform was just girl talk.
Yeah.
It was just silly little, if a guy doesn't call, don't text him, that silly little stuff. And I did a deep dive on narcissism when he was stalking me so hard that I went down that rabbit hole after hearing his therapist, say he's a narcissist. And I thought, there must be something to this. And when I started creating the videos about narcissism, they just went absolutely wild. And now we're 8 months out of this breakup. And at some point, the women in the group were asking me questions, and then the women from TikTok were DMing me questions, and I just went from there because at that point, after I connected all the dots from that breakup, I connected the dots back to my father, my first husband, my ex-boyfriend, and then this last one. So I thought, you're the common denominator. What is it about you that's attracting these people? And I realized that we don't attract them, we accept them.
Wow.
And that love bombing feels so good, does it not?
Yeah,
you finally
absolutely.
feel connected to someone on a level that you'd never connected before. And if you know me, you know that I'm a very, very, very private person. And you see very little of my real life. So that whole sharing thing was so difficult. But then when I was just talking traits and red flags, I was able to not only heal, but help other people in a way that I never could have imagined. It's just so much bigger than my ex or my dad. This is us coming together as women and learning what these red flags are and how to veer away from them in every avenue of life. This is not just relationships. This is friends. This is family. This is business. This is just us having a voice and having the confidence to say, oh, no, No, you don't get one more of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found your platform. It just came up on, I think, Instagram or maybe even TikTok for me. And I had left my ex already. And I didn't know anything about narcissism. I didn't know anything about abuse. I thought that maybe even at a point I was being dramatic because he never hit me. So if it's not physical, it can't be abuse. I was told over and over that I'm someone that's very difficult to get along with, and I'm so dramatic, and I'm this. So I really started to believe that I was the problem. I had tried to leave, I think, 6 times before. Yeah. And not knowing anything about narcissism, what I did know for the 7th time was I needed to leave with no contact. And I went into hiding. Like, I found a room to rent that was 56 square feet. I left a $2 million house. I moved into a room with a shared bathroom, and no one knew where I was. And I just knew that this would be the only way that I wouldn't go back if he didn't know where I was. Yeah. Until finding your page, I didn't realize the importance of doing that the way that I did in order to fully leave, because the love bombing is insane. And the grandiose gestures and the gifts and the promises lure you back in with the breadcrumbing. So it wasn't until I saw your page and I was like, oh my God, this is why I had to do it the way that I did it in order to completely break free.
Yeah.
So
isn't it amazing how strong and powerful you are just as a woman, that your inner voice said, girl, this is what you need to do, long before you knew that that's what you needed to do. This is what I'm talking about. This is how powerful we truly are.
We are. And I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit. Absolutely. That we're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And we think that we can't live without them when we really are magical creatures, and we always figure it out.
Girl,
we
preach.
Always figure it out. We do.
Yeah. And honestly, we carry that relationship. The only reason your relationship with a narcissist lasts is because you turn away, you forgive, you close your eyes, you make it work again.
And saying those words, this is, I said this to my team the other day because I was telling them that I was meeting with you. We were so excited. Everyone's following you.
I just adore you.
And I said, I think one of the problems, when you know that there's a problem in the relationship, is when you can't share all of the information about your relationship with your best friends. Yes. When you are hiding parts of your relationship with your closest friends, that is a major warning that something is not right.
And, this is why I have coined myself the professional best friend, because we can't talk to our friends about this. No. They either gaslight us, or and I don't think they mean to, but there is a point where they're over it. Like, you kept going back. You need to just shut your mouth and get what you got.
100%.
But there's another aspect of it where they just have never seen this kind of mind F. I don't know what words I can use, but
absolutely.
We know the words I'm famous for.
Say it all. This is rated.
Why I'm always in trouble on every social media app, the bleep, bleep, bleep. But it's so true. They just either don't understand, they've never seen it, and we get so frustrated. But there's another aspect too, which is what happened to me, was this sociopath started hitting up all of my friends. And, well, you know how she is, and I'm trying to get her back. And he would even post pictures of us with poems, and he started posting like things I had written on social media as if he had written them. I mean, it was just such a mind fuck that... How do you even tell your friends? The one thing that I knew I had to do was make it irreversible. I had to make sure that shit was done, you know? And a large part of my original, videos after that 8-month mark when I started talking about narcissism was to make sure that he would never try to call me again. Yeah, he did. Of course he did. But he started using all of the fake apps after that. I would get emails that just say, fuck you. Like, okay. And just all the Google numbers. And I still get almost 10 missed calls a day. Just random numbers emails, hack attempts. It's just insane. But now he wants to shut me up. But see, had he gone away in the first place, I would have never spoken up.
Exactly.
That platform had nothing to do with him. And then did briefly for about a month when I first started talking about narcissists. But after that, it just became so much bigger. And the one thing really important for me to discuss is that I didn't start my platforms until after I was completely over the breakup. There was zero emotion there. So I wasn't coming from a place of anger or hurt, or I was coming from a place of anger from the messages I was getting from the women that were going through this, because it pisses me off.
And again, to have such a platform to understand, I think, is so important. I had lunch with a couple girlfriends the other day, and because I painted him perfect, it was very hard for people to accept that I left and why I left. And like, once I started to share the stories of like what happened behind closed doors, I think there was a point too where people didn't believe me. And I think it's important that like when you choose to leave and close that chapter, to not look for validation or closure. Like you just have to do it for yourself.
Absolutely.
And you have to stop thinking about what other people think or what other people feel, or if people are even going to like believe you.
Right.
Like you just really have to do it for you at the end of the day. And I will honestly say, I wake up every single morning and I say out loud, I am so happy. Like for the first time in my life, like I have true happiness with my life.
You found your purpose.
It's so true.
Because your purpose is not with them.
No. And, one of these girlfriends said to me the other day, and I want to get your feedback and your opinion on this because I think it's so important to talk about, was, well, come on, Luba, like it wasn't all that bad. You guys had some great memories too.
Yeah, and that's the famous words a narcissist says, by the way. They always say that. One thing I always heard was, we had more good times than bad. So just keep that in mind when you think about your friends and how they gaslight and how they,
And I remember like it was just anger inside of me. And I just said, absolutely not. There were no good times. I said, this has taken me a long time and a lot of therapy and a lot of, what's the word I want to use? Like, I've had to very much humble myself.
Yeah.
Because I slept next to a stranger for 15 years. Nothing was true.
Right.
Everything was made up and fake for 15 years of my relationship. Right. It was a game that he played for the outcome that he wanted and everything that he wanted to get within the relationship.
Absolutely.
Nothing was true.
How heartbreaking is that when you think about it? I think that we feel like, forgive me if you didn't feel this way, I felt this way. I felt like a failure of a woman.
100%.
And then I know how powerful I am on my own and how successful I can become, and just the career that I've held in life and just the way that I live. And he took that away from me in so many ways. But then I created this platform, and when it started to grow, somebody hit me up sending me a video that he said he called me a fad. And I was like, all right, so I'm gonna hook up this Instagram thing right now and see if I get any followers. Boom, hit. And then now I'm on my 3-year mark, so I decided I was going to start Facebook and see how that goes. I am 6-7 months in, and I have 58,000. So again, not huge numbers, but
numbers.
It's not chump change. So I said, okay, if I got lucky the first time, how about the second?
Yeah.
How about the third? Now you can go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
You know
and we'll
what I
see how
mean?
this fad goes.
Right.
As you continue to help women in the background. Because here's the thing. I think that, even before 2020, this was just something that never got spoken about. We just dealt with it in the background.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, for me anyways, that like things just started to come up on my page and people started having the conversations and this isn't okay and this is a form of abuse. Road rage is a form of abuse, right? If he hits something near you, around you, that's a form of abuse.
Right.
Financial abuse. Like there's a whole bunch of things that they don't talk about it because they don't hit you.
Yeah.
It's not abuse, but it's starting to have more of a voice and more of a recognition. So what are some signs of maybe someone, because, Valentine's Day is around the corner.
Ooh, girl.
And everyone is celebrating, Cupid and all the love stuff.
Yeah.
But what if we've got someone in a relationship that's wondering, are they truly in an abusive relationship? Like, what are the signs? Because you're so mind-fucked on convincing yourself that it's not abusive.
But do you know why you're mind-fucked?
Tell me.
Because you want the relationship. You want the person you met, and you swear they're going to come back, and they've just had a rough patch for 10 fucking years. You swear that the person you met is going to come back because they give you little bouts of it, right? And the one thing that I always noticed was after being devalued so horribly, I had some of the best days. We got to go to the places I wanted to go to for the first time. We got the best pictures. I had gotten the man of my dreams right after he was able to get out that rage, right? And it's one of those things where you don't want to leave. So you convince yourself that you can love their evil out of their soul, right? Because you do have those good times that you still believe are good because you haven't wrapped your mind around the whole damn thing was a fucking lie.
The whole thing.
When I go back to day one in all 3 relationships that I've had with narcissists, they began on a lie. And it wasn't until you start uncovering the lie that you realize that. And then they train you to not ask any questions, because things are good if you don't ask any questions.
Well, that's the thing, right? Or else the cycle begins of you don't even know the question that you even started asking.
Yeah.
Because it's such a vicious cycle. It's exhausting.
But then when you figure out the hookers and the strippers and the yoga instructor, and the yoga instructor and the skanky neighbor next door, you're just like, oh, okay. I get it now. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough to make your way around that cycle and realize that you have to walk away from something that you never wanted to let go of. But you were the glue that held it together in the first place.
I've heard that so many times. So many times. What would you say for someone that can't talk to their friends about this? Because I feel for me, it was if I'm going to have a conversation with my friends about what's truly happening, I need to be ready to leave. And I wasn't ready to leave. And I had a very good girlfriend who came to me and said, you know that he's staying in a hotel with this person on this trip, right? And I was like, no, he's not. They're staying at separate hotels. They're going to be at the same place, but I believe him. And she was like, no, I'm telling you, they're staying at a hotel together. And she has a very bad reputation for fucking married men. And I was like, well, no, I trust him. Knowing in the back, you've cheated on me. I've run out of fingers to count on how many times you've cheated on me that I know of. But I need to say this because I need her to have this picture in her head that the relationship is okay. So what do you say to those women that can't talk to their friends, that are wondering if they should leave? What is the outlet for that, and how do they get to that next step to pull the trigger?
They have to hit rock bottom. Just like a junkie, right? Breaking up with a toxic relationship, or leaving a toxic relationship, I should say, is as difficult as kicking a heroin addiction. So when you think about it from the mind of a junkie, not having ever been a junkie, it's difficult.
Yeah.
They have to hit rock bottom. They have to hit a place where they know they can't do it anymore, because I can't talk you into leaving. You have to decide. And for me, I made a decision that I had to leave and not ever come back, and I made it irreversible. But I think until you get to that point where you say, I'm gonna make damn sure you can't come back, because I'm not strong enough to say no to you. So I'm going to hit you so hard that there's no way that you can come back, just for your own ego, right? But they have to be, there's no one they can talk to. They have to make that decision on their own. And the average woman goes back 7 times.
Wow.
So
what did I just say?
Yeah.
6, 7 times.
I went back twice. And the 3rd time I said, yeah, no,
so
I'm better than this.
What was your rock bottom? And how did you get your value to know that I'm worth more than this?
It was so tough. It was a series of getting kicked out of a state on a holiday, literally on the East Coast. And I had nothing but my overnight bag, had no idea how to get around the streets, had no car. I had to make my way to a hotel and then make my way to an airport that was like an hour away, and then get myself back to LA. And after that, I took him back. And then the second time was right after my father passed away, days after my father passed away. It was another, get the fuck out kind of deal. Where it actually happened after I got back to LA because I wanted to come back and memorialize my dad. And it was he just broke up with me by text message and went ghost. I can't talk to you because if I hear your voice, I'll change my mind. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And the two were like 8 months apart. So it wasn't like I connected those dots, and ghosted me for 30 days as I was grieving my father. And who does that? What kind of maniac does that,
Not a man.
Not a man, definitely not. But it wasn't until the third time where I said, I'm really going to give myself a chance to love his pain away. Because we make excuses for them, right? We say they've had rough childhoods and, all these other things. And it wasn't until he told me I did something that I knew I didn't do. And just the constant coercion, like have one more drink, and I was already tipsy, and I'm not a good, drunk in the way that I can't handle my liquor like that because I don't drink. So I was giggly, I was loud, and it was just one of those things where I had touched his phone and I grabbed it, I dropped it in my bag, and my bag was open. He could have just reached it right out. And that was it. I saw a whole different person appear in that car, and he said I hit him. And I was just like, I know I didn't do that. Like, there's no way I did that.
If you touch their phone, that is, the rage comes out.
And I still tried to make it work that whole week because I was still there for a week. But then I decided at some point, like, he's not who I want in my life. And I have to just say goodbye. I have to stop thinking about how I feel about him and start realizing how he feels about me. Because all 3 times that he's pulled this like maniac card, I was looking into the eyes of someone I didn't recognize. And I knew that if I made a big move to change my life for him, that I was going to be a prisoner in his fucking hell. He was going to move me out of my life and move me in with his demons. And that's something that I didn't want for myself. I would rather be alone in my peace than living in somebody else's chaos. Because I thought if I want to live in hell, I'll create that hell on my own, in my own hood, and be,
literally walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
All of the time, not knowing like what their mood is going to be like in your own home.
And much like you, I just went fully no contact, and I just went underground. I didn't really talk to friends too much. My regular circle because I didn't know where I was going, so how was I going to allow them to give me any type of advice, or because I didn't even know what I needed to hear, what I wanted to hear, and everything was a trigger, and I knew that I could get over anything in 30 days. Girl, you have overcome so much more than this. Just hang on for 30 days and pop back up, and you'll be fine. And I was. I had 30 days, and I called him, and I had that last conversation, and knew I was done.
Mine was 30 days too, and I decided to make contact and be like, okay, so how is this gonna like work as far as like splitting everything? And it's funny that you say, you can get through anything. I remember there was a message where you reached out to me and you said, congratulations on beating cancer. And I wrote back to you and I said, that was one of the things that I was like, I fucking beat cancer. I am gonna be okay without him.
Yeah.
Like I've got this.
Yeah. Seriously. And honestly, when you think about all of it as a whole, the dick was trash. Like,
girl, that's a whole other fucking podcast.
Can we just talk about why the fuck we were hanging on so hard to someone that everything was shit? We were the financial providers.
Someone said to me like, "Oh, so you stayed with him because you were dickmatized?" I was like, "Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not."
Yeah, I always kept the bzz, bzz right next to me and made sure I had extra batteries to go along with it.
Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah,
this is great.
When you think about it, the whole relationship was shit. So how in the world did we stay there for so long? But I think that's why women like you and I are able to help other women see that there's another side that you're just not seeing it. And they have to be ready to see it. And this is why I call myself a professional best friend, because you don't have to tell me exactly how you're feeling and what you're going through, because I've been you. I've been there.
And you're not going to judge.
And I'm not going to judge you.
And I think it's so important for, the people that are maybe listening to this podcast that aren't in an abusive relationship, but maybe have friends that are going through the same thing. Please, please, please do not ask them, why did you stay so long?
Right.
I fucking hate that question.
Right.
I fucking hate that, because the question needs to be, why did he abuse?
Correct. 100%.
That's what it needs to be. Why did he treat you this way?
Yeah.
I got, well, you're so smart and you're so beautiful. Why did you stay so long?
Yeah. I think in large part, too, I get triggered when people ask me that, and I get all grr. But there's another side to me that says, why did I stay so long? And I did the deep dive with myself and came out her, Yeah. And this woman sitting in front of you is meeting herself for the first time every single day. Like, there are new experiences constantly because I'm seeing life from a different lens, from a not codependent lens, because let's face it, we became very codependent on these relationships. And, the why is not for them to ask. It's kind of that thing like, I can talk shit about my cousin, but you can't.
Legit.
Right?
Yes.
So it's that whole thing where they're not allowed to ask you that question, but you need to ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
And I think another really important thing is, and that's why you never hear me advocate. I advocate for women leaving and living a healthier life. I advocate for women living their truth. But I'm not one to say you need to leave them, right? Because I believe you need to go back as many times as you need to make it irrefucking-versable.
Yeah.
Right? You have to hit that rock bottom, and you have to do it on your own. Because no matter how much I hold your hand, if you're still in love with this person, or you're still holding on to some hope, which, by the way, is the most dangerous thing a man can be, is hopeful that it's going to, work out. But once you realize that you can't do it anymore, that's where I come in. That's where I come in and walk you through the healing process. You leaving is on you, baby. You have to do that on your own. Because if not, you're getting into another codependent relationship. Because now you're codependent on me to keep you from going back, to keep you face forward. And we're also pausing your healing because you're still stuck.
And I think those women, too, that ask, like, how do you know when you're done? I've been asked this a lot. How did you know that you were done? And I just say, like, as women, we just know.
You just know.
And it stems from a place of when we stop fighting, when we get quiet, watch out.
Yeah.
We are fucking done. And
Check
there
the
is
fuck out.
no emotion left from there. I remember meeting with him for the first time, and one of the lines that he kept saying was, I know you're doing this because you're hurt and you're angry with me. And I remember just sitting there in my peace, and I looked at him and I was like, I don't hate you or love you, and I'm not hurt by you.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
Yeah.
And it was the most peaceful, healing space I could be in.
Isn't it amazing?
I was just done. Like, I don't even have the energy to hate you.
Yeah. I don't care about you enough to hate you.
Like, I'm just, and it's such a good place to be, you guys. And if anyone is listening and they're just thinking, like, my life will not be the same, or there's, financial burdens that will come up, or I have to stay for the children, or, I've got girlfriends that are like, I'm not leaving this lifestyle. I'm not leaving this house. I will tell you right now, I left a $2 million house. I slept in 56 square feet out of 4 drawers. And I remember walking along the beach thinking, like, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought, I have absolutely everything that matters. I have my health and I have my freedom. And nothing else matters. Like, I have everything.
Girl, yes.
And how that's, like, changed my life into, like, moving forward into today has been such a huge blessing and manifested such great things for me. It is so much better on the other side, you guys. It feels like a huge mountain that you can't overcome. it is so much better on the other side.
It is so much better on the other side because you can choose how to feel. You don't have someone, dictating your every emotion every single day. If they wake up in a bad mood, you need to be, reactive to that so that they could get their supply in. It's just, you have to do everything for you and on your time. Yeah. I can't make you see that this is bad for you. You know it's bad for you. And when you're ready, come on over. Right. I'm here to help you heal, but I'm not here to help you leave. I'm giving you the red flags and the traits, and you have to make your own decision. And again, you have to hit that bottom. You have to know that you're done. And a lot of people struggle with the healing part of it, but they don't let go. They're still holding on. And, holding on is what hurts. Letting go doesn't hurt.
Because it's the same hurt over and over. Yeah. Here's the thing. You guys have to listen to the words. Watch the actions and not the words. This was a huge thing because the promises, but the actions never matched the words.
No.
Ever.
Definition of manipulation, which I never knew before. And going back to, how will I bounce back? I left home at 14. So I didn't even know how to be a woman, let alone take care of myself, which I figured out a way. When I left my marriage, I left with nothing. It took 14 years to get a divorce because he would not divorce me. By the time but here's where my inner goddess came out and said, girl, you need to protect yourself. Long before I even understood I needed to protect myself. And I got a legal separation. So every dollar I made, the house that I purchased, everything I had, he couldn't get his hands on. But I bet he would have tried. Right?
And this is another thing I want to put out there for women, regardless what country you're in, state you're in, please look into either a prenup, a legal separation, I can't remember what it's called. Oh shoot, what was it called? Something that I should have got. But I was always told by him, I don't care about money or property. If we were ever to split up, I would just give it all to you.
Yeah, right.
Guess what?
You don't know somebody until you try to leave them.
Guess what? Protect yourself no matter what they say or how good things are.
Right.
You guys, please take this advice from me.
And I think the other side of the financial abuse is not them just taking your money, but them making women codependent on their money, right? And then they get you to dance for every dollar. And they're very generous when they want to be generous. But if you need something and they're feeling some kind of way and you're going to be the scapegoat to their releasing their anger, they're going to hold those dollars from you and make you dance for it. They will humiliate you for every dollar and dictate what you wear, when you go out, what you do, how you look. And it's just, it really is both sides.
And I think that's why women need to remain somehow independent or have I say it all the time. Side gig or you have to have some money on the side, you guys.
Yeah.
You cannot.
There has to be a hidden account. Yeah, and I hate to say that, but you have to have enough money to pay rent for 3 months. Because by then,
way of looking at it.
Everything for me in my life, everything is a 3-month increment, right? You can rebuild in 3 months.
Yeah. That's so important. Say that one more time for the people.
You can rebuild in 3 months. You can get a new job, health insurance, a little bit of pocket money. You can do anything. And it seems like a really long time, but it's not. It's not. It's not. You have to have somewhere to go, always. There's never going to be a time where you should have to rely on anyone, male, female, or otherwise. You have to know that no matter what, if there's a disaster and you get separated, that you can take care of yourself for a few months and make sure that you can find your way back to yourself.
Oh, that's powerful. So what do we want to leave our listeners with today? What is your ending advice?
I know where you are right now. And I hope and pray that you find the strength to know that it's done, and to know that you deserve better, and to know that there is a life that you have yet to see because you're holding on to a shitty one.
Yeah. Life is so good on the other side, you guys.
Life is so good on the other side. Just being able to be.
Yeah. Listen, I recorded on my close friends the other day. I was eating a cheeseburger in bed at 3:00 in the morning after I went out dancing till 2:00. And I remember recording it because I said, I want to record this moment that no one is going to fucking tell me I cannot do this.
Yeah.
Like I can do this. I can eat, a cheeseburger in bed at 2:00 in the morning. I can go dancing. I can fly to Oakland for the night to go to a social event. I can go to Thailand for fun. I report to no one.
To no one but yourself. And I also want to say that the woman you want to become, she's waiting for you to go get her. She's waiting for you to become her. A lot of times we sit there and think we can't do this. Yes, you can. You can. And when you're done, you will.
You will.
Yeah.
We have the power within us, and
Absolutely.
we just don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. There's a light at the end of that tunnel.
I love this. Lisa, please tell us all your platforms on where we can follow you.
I am Lisa Lou _Girl Power on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Videos get removed all the time from Instagram and TikTok. Sorry. But you can find them on Facebook because they still haven't shadow banned me yet.
I love this.
I also have a website if anybody needs to send an email or a DM. I'm always willing to read comments and answer questions. All of my videos come from someone's questions in the DMs or email.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Every single video that I make comes from answering someone's question. And the reason I don't tag their question is because a lot of women are still in hiding. They're still in that situation, or they just don't want their friends to know what they're going through, which I have isolated, so I know what that's like. Mm-hmm. So every single video I make is answering a woman's question.
Wow, that's powerful.
Did you know that one?
No, I didn't, because when I watch your stuff, I'm like, oh my God, how does she know this? How does she know to talk about this? And I can relate with this. And thank you for addressing this. Like, it's so, so powerful. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You are making such a difference in the world for people. You have no idea the power that you hold and the impact that you're making on women's lives. Like, truly, before we started recording, I know you said, like, no, I don't think so. You are. Like, you are someone that helped me through my situation.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So I know that you're doing it for so many other people, and just bringing this to light that this is a form of abuse. You can get out. You are more powerful on the other side, and you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. You're going to be more than okay. You're going to be amazing, because you're going to be living on your terms, whatever that looks like for you.
This is why everyone has a glow up after they leave a narcissist.
Yeah.
Even people that don't know my story, or like in my DMs, are like, I don't know, like, what happened or who he was, but girl, freedom looks good on you.
Yeah, and it sure does. And it just gets better. I feel like, again, life is so new, because once you open your eyes to toxicity, you realize how much of it you allowed around you and for how long. Yeah. Every job, friends, partners, family members, and I have really shed myself of all negativity. I don't allow it in my space. I delete men's comments. I sure do. I will admit it, because if they're going to trigger a woman who's trying to survive in those comments, and he's saying something nasty, like it's your fault or you chose to say, he is not only deleted, he is blocked.
Good. I love this.
Yeah. But that's why my videos also get restricted, because
they report it.
And not all comments are good comments. I don't care if the video moves. I care that the right people see it.
Again, so powerful.
Thank you.
And doing what you're doing. And what I love about you is you don't do any paid sponsorships. Like, you speak from the heart. You're not profiting off of this. You literally are just paving the way for women. So thank you again. And thank you for doing this podcast with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was great. Thank you.